Now, in the last talk, we were discussing about nature of anicca, impermanence. So today we will go on to discuss the second of the Samanya Lakkhana, the universal characteristic, that is dukkha, or normally translated as suffering. Mm. Mm. So again, the question is, what is it that is dukkha? What is it that is suffering? And again, the answer is five aggregates, or six sense base, and so on. And basically, all the nama rupa, or the mental physical nature that are conditioned, they are dukkha. So in the Radha Samyutta, again, the Venerable Radha asks the Buddha, what is it that is dukkha? And the Buddha again replied, Rupam korada dukkam vedana dukkha sanya dukkha sankara dukkha vijnanam dukkam. So it's rupa, materiality is dukkha, feeling is dukkha, perception is dukkha, mental formation is dukkha, consciousness is dukkha. So it is referring to the five aggregates. Five aggregates are dukkha. Also, in the Panda Samyutta, in the Yadanicca Sutta, Buddha says, Yadaniccam tam dukkam. So what is impermanent? What is it that is impermanent? It's five aggregates. So the five aggregates which are impermanent, they are Yadaniccam tam dukkam. What is impermanent is suffering, is dukkha. So they are dukkha precisely because they are anicca, impermanent. That which is impermanent is dukkha. It's dukkha because it is impermanent. So whatever it is, if it is impermanent, it is dukkha. Mm, mm, mm. So the five aggregates are the conditioned mental, physical nature. They are dukkha. But how do we know? So when we are noting this mental, physical nature, moment to moment to moment, what are the signs, or what are the characteristics that we discern that tells us that they are dukkha? Excuse me. So in the commentary again, they explain Udayabhaya Bina Patipilana Tena. So it means it is dukkha in the sense of continuous oppression by rise and fall. So this is the nature of dukkha, continuous oppression by rise and fall, by arising, disappearing, again and again and again. So, so this is the nature of dukkha. And this nature of dukkha is related to the nature of anicca. So nature anicca, remember, the disappearance upon arising. So when this nature of anicca can be discerned clearly by the yogi, then the mental physical nature is seen as occurring as an incessant process, never ending process, arising, disappearing, arising, disappearing. It goes on and on and on, arising and disappearing, no end to it. Okay? And when the knowledge that experience this is clear, This never-ending process of rising, disappearing is experienced as oppressive, uh, as painful, as torturing. Mm. So, so in that clarity of mind, uh, the whole of existence is experienced as splitting away, breaking up, moment to moment to moment. It's like dying, dying again and again, uh, moment to moment, dying, dying, dying again and again. Mm. So, so the yogi will experience a deep sense of uneasiness with existence itself. Yeah? So there's a feeling of something wrong with existence. There's a defect in existence. Yeah? Mm. So and there's also a feeling of being oppressed, harassed, and disturbed uh, continuously. Yeah? So, mm, and so some yogis experience this as like being uh, uh, again and again. Yeah? Some experience it as being bombarded or attacked again and again, repeatedly. Some one yogi described this experience continuous arising, disappearing. Yeah, and describe it as like being shot, shot by a machine gun. Again and again, the bullet, one after another, never ending. Yeah? Mm. So, mm, mm, mm. So being continuously, yeah, experience existence as continuously harassed, disturbed by rise and fall, oppressed by rise and fall, breaking up, dying again and again. So existence appear to be unstable, insecure, and there's no security, no assurance in existence. Mm, mm. So it cannot provide any true lasting happiness. Happiness that is assured cannot be provided. Whatever happiness there is in life, it's only momentary. Then it breaks up. Everything is disappearing, breaking up. Okay? Mm. So yogi experience this as dukkha, as oppressive. And it's dukkha precisely because of anicca, continuous disappearing, breaking up, dying again and again. Okay? So this is dukkha. Mm. So in order to discern clearly the this dukkha lakkhana, characteristic of dukkha, this nature of continuous oppression by never-ending rise and fall. Okay? So to discern this clearly, yogi need to keep your attention continuously on the process of this mental physical nature. Okay? Discern it continuously arising, disappearing, moment to moment. Mm. So as you note this rise and fall continuously, uh, so when your noting becomes clear enough, you will begin to experience the oppressive nature of this never-ending rising and disappearing. And you start to feel uneasiness. You feel it's difficult to hold the attention uh, on this process. You may feel that you want to shift your attention away. Okay? So, so when this happens, you must not give in to the desire to run away. Okay? So no matter how difficult it is. You must summon up the courageous effort, the warrior-like effort, and to surrender into this process of dukkha and keep noting it. Because if we keep running away from this nature of dukkha, then this oppressive nature of the mental physical process can never be revealed or discerned clearly by the mind. Okay? Mm. So that's why the instruction given is when you sit, sit still, don't move. Okay? So no matter how uncomfortable, discomfort, not discomfort, keep noting, don't move. Okay? Mm. So when you experience dukkha, nature of dukkha, you must learn to surrender into it or flow with it. Okay? So long as you have not learned to surrender into it, if you keep running away from it, then perception of dukkha, dukkha sanya, will not be established firmly in the mind. So insight into dukkha will not develop. Mm. So dukkha sanya, perception of dukkha, the perception of the oppressiveness of the never-ending arising and disappearing. Okay, so this perception of dukkha first starts to arise and become clear at the third insight, okay, sammasana, knowledge or comprehension. So the third insight is when the yogi begin to um, experience, discern clearly the rise and fall, arising and disappearing of the mental, physical nature that are noted. Mhm. So even though it's slow, mm, rising, and it arises and then it goes on a little bit before it disappears. Okay, it's slow, but when these are noted continuously, okay? So when this nature of arising and disappearing are noted continuously, okay? After some time, I begin to feel uneasiness of this continuous process. So at the third insight, yogi usually feels a lot of unpleasant sensation, right? A sensation of itchiness all over, right? The body, yes, itchiness here, itchiness there, uh, crawling sensation, insects crawling, cockroach crawling, ants crawling all over, very unpleasant, okay? Pain here and there. So, irritating sensation will appear. Yeah. Stress, heat, aches, pressure, hardness, stiffness, and so on. Okay? Mm. So this usually experience during the third insight, samasana jnana. Okay? So that means the dukkha sanya perception of dukkha begin to arise. This third insight, samasana jnana. Mm. So this dukkha sanya first develop at samasana jnana, but insight. But this dukkha sanya only become firmly established when it comes to Banganyana, the fifth insight. Okay? So Samasananyana is just the beginning. It's not well developed yet. Okay? So but when the yogi arrive at Banganyana, as we explained in the last talk, Banganyana, because the noting is so fast and so sharp. that so precise that each time the yogi knows, mind goes straight into the breaking up, the disappearance, okay, of the mental physical nature that are not. So Bhanganyana means knowledge of dissolution. So every time the yogi notes, he sees the mind, mental physical nature disappearing, only disappearing. That means the mind goes straight into the nature of anicca. Again and again, it's just a pure experience of anicca, impermanence. Okay? Mm. So, so when the yogi experience a continuous breaking up again and again of experience. Mm. Mm. Uh, So with this pure experience of anicca again and again and again, if yogi will begin to feel very miserable. Okay? So it's oppressive, very torturing. Okay? So when it comes to bhayanyana, knowledge of fearfulness, the yogi will experience this whole process, never ending, disappearing, breaking up as fearful, as terrifying. uh, mm, then with adinava jnana, experience the danger in this process of dukkha. Experience the wretchedness, the miserableness of this process of dukkha. Okay? And then with nibbida jnana, so they experience weariness. He becomes weary of this process. No longer can he delight in it. It wears him down because dukkha very oppressive. So it becomes sense of weariness, disenchantment. Is no longer enchanted. Earlier is very enchanted by seeing, by hearing, by smelling, takes delight in it. Enchanted by now it becomes disenchanted. It's like uh, the sensual pleasures no longer hold his uh, mm, because before that the sensual pleasure is like cast a spell on the mind, so that the mind becomes attracted to it. Now the spell is broken, it becomes disenchanted. So even can become disgusted with the whole process of dukkha. Yeah? Mm. So, so here very powerful dukkha sanya is developing perception, very clear perception of dukkha is developing. Right? And this is as this is developing sukha sanya, perception of pleasure is being shaken up and abandoned by the mind. Okay? So previously, before he experienced such clear insight into dukkha, the yogi is inclined, his mind is inclined, enjoy the world, enjoy seeing, enjoy hearing, smelling, and so on. So, but now, with this experience of dukkha, clear perception of dukkha, and now he only sees uh, this mental physical process, seeing, hearing, smelling, and so on, as dangerous, as miserable, as a torture. He sees there's nothing to enjoy. He sees there's nothing here to grasp at as pleasurable. Mm. So, as he develop further, this insight into dukkha becomes clearer and clearer. Clearer and clearer means become more and more oppressive. So when it comes to we call munching to kamnyatanyana, knowledge of desire for deliverance, desire to be free from this dukkha. So very strong desire arise in the mind because it's so oppressive. Our mind wants to be free. liberated from this oppressiveness. And so the mind uh, such inclined towards the cessation of this oppressive process of arising, disappearing. Okay? So essentially, the mind is searching for nibbana, uh, where the process of dukkha ceases. Okay? Mm. Yeah. So here, a strong desire to be liberated arises. Okay? But in order to be free, uh, the yogi need to step up, uh, to note even more energetically, precisely, sharply. Okay? This is called the Patisankanyana, uh, knowledge of reobservation. The yogis step effort, note more sharply and more precisely in order to mature the insight, and deepen and mature the insight. Okay? Mm. So with this effort, and finally, when it's mature, it arrives at what is called Sankarupikanyana, knowledge of equanimity towards the Sankara, towards its formation, and towards this mental physical phenomenon. Okay? So here, the knowledge is very clear that nature of dukkha is still very clear, but because the knowledge is mature, yeah, all mind becomes equanimous. Yeah, is able to rise above the dukkha and see it with equanimity, with a balanced state of equanimity, yeah, unaffected by it. Yeah, so the whole mind becomes very steady, very stable. Okay? Mhm. Then from here, it's a matter of maturing the Sankaropekanyana by continuously noting. So in Sankarupika, noting becomes easy because of equanimity. Uh, Earlier, because of the powerful Dukanyana, the mind finds it difficult to know. But Sankarupika, because of equanimity, very strong equanimity is established. It's easy to know. Okay, so and continue noting, and when the knowledge mature, then Magganyana arise. Knowledge, half knowledge arise. Then it frees the mind from dukkha. Okay? Mm. So this continuous uh, noting of the nature of dukkha, the oppressive nature of rise and fall. Okay? This is called dukkha contemplation of dukkha. It means continuous moment to moment noting the oppressiveness. Okay? And this dukkha nupassana, contemplation of nature dukkha, leads to arising of dukkha nupassana jnana, knowledge that arises from the contemplation of dukkha. Basically, the insight into nature of dukkha. Mm. Okay. Next, we discuss about anatta, non-self, nature of non-self. Okay. So again, same question. What is it that is anatta? What is it that is non-self? And again, the same answer. Five aggregate, six sense base, and so on. The conditioned mental physical nature is non-self, anatta. Mm. So again, in the Radha Samyutta, Venerable Radha also asked the Buddha, what is it that is anatta? So Buddha replied, Rupam Korada Anatta, Vedana Anatta, Sanya Anatta, Sankara Anatta, Vinyanam Anattam. So, so materiality is non-self, feeling is non-self, perception, mental formation, consciousness, they are all non-self. Five aggregates are non-self. Mm. And then in the Yadanicca Sutta, again, from the Kanda Samyutta. So first the Buddha says, yeah, Yadaniccantam Dukkam. So that five aggregates, that is impermanent, and that is dukkha. It's dukkha precisely because it is anicca. And then the Buddha went on to say, Yam dukkham tadanatta. That which is dukkha is anatta. Okay? Mm. So, yeah. So what is anicca? What is impermanent is suffering. Is suffering precisely because of impermanence. And then what is suffering is non-self. And is non-self precisely because it is dukkha. Okay? Mm. Mm. Okay. So, yeah. So how do we know that this mental physical nature, they are anatta? What are these characteristic signs that tells us that this is anatta? Okay? So again, from the commentary, explain avasavattanatina anatta. Okay? So it is anatta, non-self, in the sense of not being able to exercise control over it. Okay? So that's the nature of anatta. You cannot exercise control over it. Okay? Mm. So now, according to the schools of Attavada, the schools that teach this Attavada, the doctrine of a self. So there's this philosophical school or religious schools where they believe in this self. So they teach this Attavada, doctrine of a self. So according to this doctrine of self, uh, if it is true Atta, true self, then you should be able to exercise control. Because they say self is the master. He said, as a master is able to exercise control. Is a master, Sami Atta. Uh, Self as a master. So you should be able to exercise control and have it as you like. Okay? So you like it to always be pleasant, to be healthy, to be beautiful. It will remain like this. Okay? You can exercise control it. Mm. So, but the nature of anatta is opposite. Uh, is you're not able to exercise control over it. Okay? And this is what the yogi realized when he discerned dukkha lakkhana. Okay? So when the yogi discerns clearly dukkha lakkhana, the oppressive nature, a never-ending arising, disappearing, when he see this clearly, when he discern this oppressive nature clearly, you notice this is oppressive nature just goes on and on and on, never ending. Uh, and there's no way to stop to it, even if you wish it to stop. And of course, when you experience such oppressive nature continuously, you want it to stop, right? Uh, so, but just because you wish it to stop, it doesn't stop. It doesn't obey your wish. uh, So you cannot control it. You can only sit helplessly by and uh, watch the oppressive process going on and on and on. Okay? So it's like helplessness in the face of dukkha. You cannot do anything about it. You cannot exercise any control over it to stop it. Okay? Mm. So, mm, so when you experience this, you're experiencing the nature of anatta, okay? Mm, of not being able to exercise any control over this process of dukkha. Mm, mm. That's why it says this anatta precisely because it's dukkha. Okay? If it is not dukkha, you can control it. So there is always sukha. That is atta, it's not anatta. Huh? So, but because it's anatta, you cannot exercise control over it. So, anatta. Mm. Now, another characteristic signs of anatta uh, is asarakam, okay, which means having no permanent essence, such as a soul or a self. Okay, so mm, so this one is based on anicca. So when the yogi uh, sees that everything that is noted uh, disappear instantaneously, okay? That means noting the sign of anicca. Okay? So everything that is noted disappear. Okay. So every moment of experience that is noted disappear. Everything disappear. Okay? There's nothing that survive unchanged from one moment of experience to another moment. So one moment of experience arising, all the mental physical nature related to that moment of experience arise in that moment, disappear in that moment. Next moment is a fresh moment. Fresh aggregates arise. Mm, And that also disappear, and then another one, fresh arise. Okay? So every moment, everything just disappear completely. Nothing survive on one moment to another moment. Okay? So that means there is no uh, permanent essence, a self, a soul that survive uh, without breaking up from one moment to another. Uh, a soul or self, atta, is supposed to be some permanent essence uh, that remain unchanged throughout all the moments of experience. Okay? But in the yogi experience, it sees there's no such self or soul that's permanent, that survive unchanged. Everything just disappear every moment. Okay? That's just a impermanent process of arising and passing away. Momentarily arising and passing away. So this is another nature of anatta, asaraka, having no permanent essence, called soul or self. Mm. Mm. So in order to discern this anatta lakkhana, characteristic of anatta, uh, whether as having no control or having no permanent essence. So, so yogi need to note experience carefully, note carefully moment to moment, uh, till the experience of continuity breaks up into or resolve into just momentary uh, mental physical nature. So experience of continuity, as we described last time, like bending the arm. Right? So you do not note carefully, you think that is the same arm that is continuously bending. uh, and also you think that is a person here who is continuously causing the arm to bend. This is the experience of continuity. Okay? So if you do not note carefully, that's what you experience, continuity. Okay? But if you note carefully, this experience breaks up into just momentary nature. As intention, mental nature, intention, and then as bending or pulling, or as physical nature. It's momentary. Another intention, bending again. Another intention, bending. So momentary Dhamma, momentary mental physical nature. So you have to note carefully until you discern clearly and process the momentary process, moment to moment. This mental physical nature occurring one after another. Mm. Once you can discern this momentary Dhamma, one after another. When you discern it, each of this mental nature, physical nature, clearly as disappearing. That means you discern the nature and nature. So we see each mental nature, each physical nature disappear, vanish moment to moment. Then you will see truly that there is no permanent essence in our experience. Everything just disappear. So it isn't asaraka, no permanent essence. Okay? Mm. Then when you keep noting continuously, eventually you discern the nature of dukkha, right? Progressiveness of a never-ending rise and fall. Okay? So when the process of dukkha is clearly contemplated, then the lack of control, uh, sense of lack of control over the process of dukkha can also be discerned. Okay? Mm. So, mm. and then anatta sanya is developed. Perception of anatta is developed. Okay? So when anatta sanya is firmly established, uh, then atta sanya, the perception of a self, will be shaken and then abandoned. Okay? So before this perception of anatta uh, is developed and established firmly, the yogi will be inclined to view experiences in terms of a self. Okay? I see, I hear, I smell, I taste, I touch. uh, I breathe in, I breathe out. My rising, my falling. uh, I lift my foot, I push and so on. I. uh, So, but when the yogi discerns clearly nature of anatta, you realize there's only this natural process of dukkha going on and on and on. Okay? There's only dukkha that arises, dukkha that passes away. There's no person, no being, no self, no soul. Okay? So, mm, so this continuous noting of anatta lakkhana, the nature of anatta, that's called anatta nupassana, a contemplation of nature of anatta, which leads to development of anatta nupassana jnana, knowledge that arises from contemplation of nature of anatta. That means insight into nature of anatta. Mm. Okay, so we have discussed about nature, anicca, dukkha of anatta. So, this nature, anicca, dukkha, anatta, mm, do not arise. It must be emphasized. It does not arise through thinking or imagining, applying logic. And it's not through the intellect that it arises. Okay? So this nature, anicca, dukkha, anatta, uh, can be discerned while you are noting a mental, physical nature. Mm. So nature, anicca, dukkha, anatta, they are already present in the continuous process of nama rupa. Okay? So the process of rising, disappearing, arising, disappearing is already there. Sankata lakkhana, right? Nature, conditioning. arising, disappearing. It's all already there. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to imagine it. Right? It's already there. Only thing is that your mind must be sharp enough, clear enough in order to discern them. Okay? Yeah. So your noting is sharp, is clear, it's already there. You can pick it up very easily. Okay? Don't need to think or imagine. Okay? Mm. So by discerning this nature of anicca, dukkha, anatta continuously, so when you discern again and again and again, impermanent suffering, non-self, impermanent suffering, non-self, repeatedly. So nibbida will arise, a sense of weariness towards this process of suffering. Will arise in the mind, a sense of disenchantment, a sense of disgust towards this process. That is anicca, dukkha, anatta, will arise. Okay? And when this is developed, it will lead eventually to viraga, strong detachment, uh, letting go of craving, letting go of attachment uh, to this process of suffering. Okay? Attachment, which is the cause of suffering. Okay? So when you let go, abandon the cause of suffering, let go of attachment, you experience nirodha, the cessation of this process of dukkha. Okay? So So once you experience the cessation, then you experience vimutti, liberation from dukkha. Yeah? Mm. So, so the development of insight knowledge, development of vipassana jnana leads to liberation from dukkha. Mm. All right. So with that, we have come to the conclusion of the Dhamma talks for this Vasarika. So may all the yogis here be able to apply the knowledge that you have learned during this retreat and continuously develop this Vipassana insight thing and mature the insight and so that may you be able to realize Maggaphala Nibbana in the shortest time possible.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namaskar.